Have you ever tried to imagine you living in another city or in another country and figuring out if it was possible and feasible living there, speaking another language, finding another job, making friends? I did it dozens of times just to have fun, but at a certain time it's happened to me. I moved from Europe to US, from Italy to California and then to Texas. And today I want to explain you all the differences I found from two countries and answering to the question, which is the best? I've seen a lot of videos of Americans actually moving from US to Europe and explain how it's better living in Europe. But before answering the question of which is the best country, we have to go deep in a lot of explanation and details. And let me start from the beginning. So, first of all, I didn't grow up in Europe. I grew up in Italy, especially in the north of the Italy, in the countryside of the beautiful city of Pavia. I was surrounded by ancient farms, rivers, and all the nature that you want. Then I moved from that part of Europe to California, Los Angeles, and after 3 years I moved to Texas. The idea of a unique Europe, it's a very wrong idea, because when I was in Italy I visited 80% of Europe several times, and I see all the differences from Italy to Sweden, from Spain to Germany. But also in Italy there are big differences from the north to the south in food and tradition. And here in US I lived in California and in Texas, and I've seen differences. But what I've seen is that in the United States there are big common things and tiny differences. On the other side, in Europe, there are big differences and tiny common things. For example, United States, same language, same money, the same president. In Europe, all the states have their own president or prime minister, or sometimes there's still a king or a prince or a queen. Not all the countries use euro, and especially all the states speak completely different languages. There are dozens of different languages. And we can divide the south languages: Portugal, Spain, France, Italy, Romania, comes from Latin. The north, Scandinavian, the center of Europe, and the east. But also in these regions there are very different languages. Talking about food, oh my gosh, it's completely different. From Italy to Norway, you can find completely different cultures about food, about traditions, about dressing. It's impossible to say that there's a very common things in Europe. What is common in Europe? Yeah, it's an old country. You can find history everywhere, in every tiny city, especially in the south, where the Roman Empire built a lot of things, and especially in Italy. Let me thank you, the sponsor of today, that is me. If you want to support my channel and me, just please subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, but also you can buy my book. It's a fantasy book that I wrote, thinking about my tiny village where I grew up. Also, you can find a link of my Redbubble shop where you can find stickers and t-shirts. And now, go back to the video. Let's try to understand which is the best country. Let's talk about healthcare. Okay, US healthcare sucks. It costs a lot. It's not affordable for everyone. In Italy, there's almost a free healthcare. It's affordable for everyone. But many times it's happened that there's a dark side. The system is overwhelmed, and frequently you need to use the private system and pay out of pocket to have as soon as a service. School. I still remember my period in school, elementary school, mid school. I see my daughters enjoying the school. No homeworks, no stress, pajama day. Sometimes they can go with pajama. It's so funny. And my daughters really enjoy the school here. Sometimes they ask me to go to school on Saturday and Sunday. For me, it was a nightmare going to school. Oh my gosh, I still remember. It was very difficult and very stressful. They do a great job about behaviors, be kind with our classmates, team building, working in team. But I'm checking their learnings, and they actually are learning a lot. On the other hand, in Italy, if you need to go to the college or university, it's almost free. And here in US, it sucks. Yeah, it's not affordable. It's crazy. I agree. But in Italy, it's affordable for everyone. But in Italy, if you have a degree, it doesn't really matter actually if you have a degree, because sometimes you can't find a job. Here in US, when you have a degree, you can find a good job, better than in Italy, and earn much more money than not having a degree. In Italy, it was a very stressful life actually. A lot of people think that Italy it's a bella vita life. Actually, it's wonderful because you're surrounded by art, beautiful landscape. You can find good food, amazing wine, and heard every day a beautiful language and dialects. But in the north of Italy, and I used to work 7 on 7, almost 15 hours a day. For me, that I was an entrepreneur and self-employed, it was a very stressful life. Here in the US, there's a way to enjoy your life and a good balance between work and private life. What I really enjoyed when I was in California, but also here in Texas, that for example on Friday, you don't work for the entire day. You finish early. Obviously, it's not a common thing all over the country, but it's happened to me a lot of time in different places, and I really love this way to enjoy the life. There's a lot of activities outside and enjoy the nature. In Italy, for me, this was impossible. Now let's talk about taxes. Oh, if you live in Italy, you can be overwhelmed about paying taxes. It's always very, very difficult. And there's a particular system that I'm not sure that does exist in other countries or in Europe. You have to pay an amount, depends on how much you earn. Usually for me it was 43%. And also you give in advance taxes for the next year. And you pay around 65% of your earnings every year. It's a crazy system. That's why you have to work a lot. California and Texas, on the other hand, are very different about taxes. Especially here in Texas, you just pay only the federal taxes, and it's a very low amount. There's a big difference compared to Italy. Job opportunity. In Italy, there isn't so many job opportunities and well paid. Here you can find continuously, I notice in California and in Texas, there are continuously great opportunities. You can lose your job, and after a couple of days you can find another job. And that's actually what's happening in the north of Europe, but not in Italy. Italy, it's stuck. The average of earnings of Italians are stuck in the 90s and never changed in those 30 years. But the market changed. Houses raised their price. Cost of living, it raised. And that's why Italy is so difficult. Taxes, schools, healthcare, studies. So I try to explain and try to explode all of the details about US and Europe, the big differences actually about Italy and US. There are for sure a lot of many things to talk, but I think that the topics that I explain is the more important for if you have to choose, if you can move from a country to another country. But let's go to the answer of the first question. Which is the best country? So unfortunately for you, there isn't a right answer because it depends on you. What I think is there's a right place in the right moment of your life. For example, if you have to study, and for sure it's better Italy. You don't have to pay a lot of money and do not have a big debt. to pay for the rest of your life. If you need to find a good job and earn a lot of money, for sure, US is way better. So in that moment of my life, the best place is here, US. But probably, who knows, in the future, I'll be back in Europe, in Italy. I can't say actually where I will be in 10, 20 years. There are different moments in your life, and every moment need to understand how to evolve and get better. You don't have to think your life in the same place, with the same person, with the same job. Try to be more realistic, try to be kind with you, and try to give you multiple choices, but also try to give you different opportunities of life. Thank you for seeing my video. Please subscribe if you find interesting my content. It's a great help for me to grow with my channel, and see you in next video. Bye.